Hello again, my little yarnivores and spiderettes. Fiber Spider back again with another tutorial just for you. And today we are going to be making a crocodile stitch hat. Yep. And there are a lot of different variations utilizing this stitch. This is a bit of my own design. And this is actually done from the top down, and that is why the scales, well, shingles, they are going sort of in the upwards direction. And there are other variations of this hat where the scales are going in the opposite direction. And in that case, you start from the brim and work your way up. But this is a top down. So you start at the crown. Now, what I really like about this particular design is that the scales go all the way up to the tippy top, and there's no flat part on the crown, which to me, it sort of breaks the continuity of the look. So what I really like is, yes, it goes all the way up. And for this particular piece, I used Lion Brand's Pound of Love, not sponsored, but I always like to let you guys know what it is that I use. And so for this one, yes, it was Pound of Love. Now I did another example, and this was in Red Heart Ombre, and it is so gorgeous. And the texture is awesome. And it is just so squishy and lovely and textured. Absolutely love it. And again, I'll give you a better top-down view. So it starts with these 3 scales and it just branches out. It's really quite easy. There are only 2 increases, and the rest of it is just straight stitching, as far as 1 scale per scale kind of thing. Also, as far as hooks, now this particular yarn is a worsted weight of 4 yarn. In fact, they both are. And to start, I used a size J 6mm hook to begin with. And then for the 1x1 ribbing at the brim, I used a slightly smaller hook, a size I 5.5mm hook. Now, of course, you can use whatever works for you if you get, the desired results, by all means. But, this is what I personally used, so you can follow along. And with that being said, let's get started. Okay, first things first with round 1. And by the way, I'm using my size J 6mm hook. The reason why is because I don't like for the stitches to be too tight and too compact and dense together. So ordinarily with this weight of yarn, I would use probably a size H or a size I when making a hat, but it is so textured that sometimes bigger is better. So yes, I'm using a size J. So we're going to start with our slip knot and a chaining of 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then slip stitch to the first chain to create a ring. And then we're going to be creating spokes. So chain up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's going to count as a double crochet and a chain 1 space. And we need a total of 12 double crochets with chain 1 spaces in between. So we've got 1, and then going into this ring that we just created, another double crochet. So we have 2 doubles, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. And while I'm doing my double crochets, I'm working over my tail at the same time. So chain 1, double crochet. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, chain 1, and then we've got 6, chain 1, 7, chain 1, 8, chain 1, 9, chain 1, 10, chain 1, 11, chain 1, and this should be 12. Let's see. I always like to double check. So I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. Perfect. Okay. And then to finish off round 1, chain 1, and then slip stitch to the top 3rd chain where we started. Slip stitch right in there. Yep. And then to finish round 1, slip stitch into the chain 1 space. And there you go. That is round 1. Okay, round 2. We're going to start right in with our scales, and we're going to have 3 of them. And so we're going to start by chaining up 1 and then going around this post right here, not into this space. This is going to be one of our sort of link spaces. And so then around this post right here, you grab the post, and we're going to do 5 double crochets down this post and then 5 double crochets up the next. So grabbing that post, 5 doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then chain 1, and then around the next post, grab that post, and then do 5 double crochets around that next post. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we want to lock this into place. Now, as you can see, we went around this post. So we're going to skip this post and then into this chain 1 space right here, do a slip stitch. And that will lock this scale into place. Alrighty, and we've got 2 more to go. Okay, so we went around this post on the flip side there, and then we slip stitched. So then going to do our next scale around this post here and the next post, but on the other side. Now, to make this as easy as possible, what I usually do is, since it's around this post, what I do is I sort of grab the post from the opposite side, from this side, and I pinch it. And then I go underneath, and I do my 5 posts this way. So that's 2, 3, 4, and 5, chain 1, and then the next post going up the opposite way with 5 doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we have to lock this one into place as well. So again, not into this space here, but into this next chain space, slip stitch into that chain space to lock it into place, and then one more scale to go. So again, it is into, it's going to be around this post right here, because we're leaving this one and this one alone. So it's this next one right here. So again, I grab it from the other side, pinching it, and then going underneath with 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, chain 1, and then around the next post, grabbing the post, going underneath, and 5 doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, then we need to lock this in place. Now we only have the three scales, and so we have this post, and we have our slip stitch connection that we're going to do. So now this is where we have our first scale that we did. What I like to do is going underneath and then through at this point right here. So you're getting a bit of the yarn, a substantial bit of yarn that you're grabbing onto. You don't want to have just like one strand, because then that will stretch and not be very becoming. And you're just doing a slip stitch. I'm going to do that again for you. So let me just get that out. Boop. Okay. So again, this is where we had our first scale. So I'm going in right in there. Exact placement, don't worry about it. But like I said, I think that it is good to have a substantial bit to grab onto. So, you can go in between. See, this is just one strand. That's not enough. That's not enough. That's a bit more. That's a bit more substantial. So yeah, just doing a slip stitch right into there. And pull up your loop a little bit, and shaboom. So now, as you can see, we have 3 scales, nice and neat together. And then we're going to create another foundation row. Okay, I'll be right back with round 3. Okay, round 3. We are going to be creating a foundation row for more scales, and we need to also do an increase. Now this is the wrong side of the work, if you will. I haven't flipped it yet. We're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, then turn your work. Okay, now, so we have this space here where we had our chain space last time. So going into this space right in between our scales with a double crochet. Okay, so we've got one foundation right there. That's, since it was a chaining up of 4, that's a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into that space there. Now, in order to make our increases, okay, it's not really that tricky, but it is important. Typically, when you're doing your foundations for the crocodile stitch, you go into the chain spaces and you go into these spaces in the middle of the scale. Well, we need to create more of them. So what I find works really well is around, because we have 5 of these double crochets on each side, this side and this side. Well, going around this first double crochet that is flush with the edge here, not around the edge itself, but around this post. If you grab that post and going around that post with a double crochet, chain one, and another double crochet, well, we have a new foundation segment for another scale yet to come. And then continuing right along without chaining in between, it's just these bits right here get the chain one. Then into this chain space here, another double crochet, chain one, double crochet. And then to continue along with the increase, grabbing the post of this first double crochet right here. Can be a little bit fiddly, but it's worth it. Yes, it is. So we're going to be going underneath and just around the post. Okay. So double crochet, chain one, and again around that post, double crochet. And this is how we increase. Then, just as we normally would, in the space in between our scales, double crochet, chain one, double crochet, and then again around that first double crochet, around that post, double, chain one, and double, and then into the middle of the scale, double, chain one, double, and then around the post of the double crochet, double, chain one, double. So basically, after doing this, we're going to go from 3 scales up to 6 scales. And that's why we're increasing the way that we are. And then in between the scales, double, chain one, double. Okay. And then we've got one more, and then we're back where we started from. So again, that first double around the post, chain one, double, and then another in between, double, chain one, double, and then around the post, double, chain one, double. And we are back where we started. So now, quite simply, just slip stitch into the third chain from the bottom. And there you go. That is the end of round 3, and we have our foundations ready for round 4. Okie dokie. Okay, round 4. Going to be making some more scales. At the end of round 3, we did our slip stitch. Well, now we need to slip stitch into the chain 1 space and slip stitch into the next 2 double crochets. 1 and 2, and slip stitch into that next chain 1 space. Okay, then chain 1. All right, now we're going to be making our first scale along this double and this double right here. We're going to be going around those posts. So again, grab your post and 5 doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Chain 1, 5 doubles around the next post. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now we need to lock this into place. So, into this next chain space right here, lock it in. Okay, and then it's going to be this double and this double, but again, grabbing it from the back, and do your 5 doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, chain 1, 5 doubles along the next post. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Slip stitch into this chain space right here. Pull out some more yarn. And yes, this does eat up a lot of yarn, but whenever you have a textured stitch, that's the nature of the beast. That's what it does. Okay, so going to then work around this double and this double. So, yeah, not the two surrounding the slip stitch, but the next two. So this one right here, grab it from the other side, pinch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, chain 1, and then around this next double. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and then into this space right here, slip stitch, lock it into place, and as you can see, we already have 3 scales. And because we are doubling them, yes, this one and this one, they are lined up with each other, but then you have this one and this one are offset. That is, again, that's the nature of the beast. And right now we're going to have another one that is going to be lined up here, and then another one offset here, and then another one lined up here. And then, yeah, we're going to increase again because obviously this is too small for any human being. So we're going to keep going. Alrighty. Okay, so for the next 3 scales, it's going to be this double and this double. So again, pushing it, grabbing it, pinching it. And do your 5 doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, chain 1, around the next double, 5 more doubles, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, into this chain space right here, slip stitch to lock it in. And then around this double and this double, we're going to do another scale. Always pinching. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, chain 1, pinching the next double, going around that post 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then into the chain space with a slip stitch. Okay, and we're almost there. So it's going to be around this double and this double. So again, grabbing it from the other side, we're pinching it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, chain 1. Okay, and then around the next double, right next to it, 5 more doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we have our initial scale. So again, we need to slip stitch to connect. So again, going underneath and then through, right at the base of the scale. And slip stitch. Ta-dum! All right. It's like a pretty little flower already. It's so neat. All right, onwards. Okay, round 5, we're going to be doing another increase round. So 1, 2, 3, 4, turn the work, and again, in between your scales, do another double crochet. So that's our first. And we're going to be doing really the same thing that we did before, where we're going to be working on each side and in the middle. Okay, so going around the post with a double, chain 1, double, and then in the middle of the scale, double, chain 1, double, and then again around the post of the double, double, chain 1, double. There we go. And then in between the scales, same thing. Double, chain 1. Whoop, almost had it. Double, chain 1, double. There we go. Okay, and we're just going to be doing the same exact thing all the way around. Okay, so I'm going to do another scale or two for you. So again, around that first double, double, chain one, double, and then in the middle, double, chain one, double, and then around the post. The first one's always trickiest, but then the second one's easier. So double, chain one, double, and then in between the scales, double, chain one, double. Okay, let's do one more around the post of the double, double, chain one, double, in the middle of the scale, double, chain one, double, around the post, double, chain one, double, and then in between the scales, double, chain one, double. Okay, so just keep doing the exact same thing for the remaining scales. Do your increase foundation, and then on this last scale, you're going to do your double, chain one, double around this post here, double, chain one, double into this space, double, chain one, double around this post here, and then slip stitch to the top third chain and slip stitch into the chain space, and I will meet back up with you for round 6, but this is the last of the increasing that you will have to concern yourself with. The rest will be like butter. It'll be smooth like butter. All right, so I'll meet back up with you in a bit. Alrighty. Okie dokie. So after completing round 5, your piece should look something like this, with 6 completed scales and with the foundation for increases. Yep. And so you should have one in between, one on the bar, one in the middle, one on the bar, and then one in between the scales. And that is going to set us up for the rest of the hat, which is going to be a total of 12 scales. And from here, we don't have to do any more increasing, but I do want to be, relatively thorough. So the rest of this is going to have to wait until the next video. So do stay tuned and keep your little peepers peeled, because part 2 is going to be coming up soon, and then we will be able to finish this hat together. So if you are enjoying this tutorial so far, please give a little thumbs up button down below. You know I appreciate your appreciation. And until next time, I want all of you to stay inspired, stay caffeinated, stay stitching, and please stay safe. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.